If I stop beading tomorrow, I'm content knowing that I had this experience and learned from my grandmother. Beading was always a part of my childhood and my community, and it was something I was always fascinated with. I was inspired and I always wanted to learn, but it wasn't until I was 50 years old I learned from an Indigenous artist in Winnipeg. I remember my grandmother and even my mother with her sewing materials. They kept their supplies in those little cookie tins, and you kind of always thought there was some chocolates or cookies in there, and you'd only find sewing supplies. I really thought about what my mom said many years ago. She said Granny had a pair of moccasins in a museum. So at that time, I inquired, giving the Manitoba Museum, Dr. Maureen Matthews, very limited information of my grandmother's name. With that limited information, Dr. Maureen Matthews took that and she found a collection of my grandmother's beading. It was emotional, finding my grandmother's work, because I always wanted to have a piece of, of her work. My most recent project is, I always say, I call it a project of love, because it's the most special project I've ever had an opportunity to do, was recreating my great-grandmother's elaborately beaded gauntlets. It was a project where I wanted to ask others for help, but I wanted it to be a personal journey between my grandmother and I. And throughout the project, I felt her spirit was with me, and I let her spirit guide me and say, this is okay. There was times where I became frustrated because it is an elaborately beaded project. And I was thinking of my grandmother, and a lot of times I talked to her like she was there. And I said, oh, this is getting harder. I was frustrated, and it's like I would hear my grandmother say what she used to always say when we misbehaved when we were young. Oh, you foolish little girls. And I thought of her saying that, and she would tap our behinds a little bit, and that was a memory that came up, and she was always so encouraging. This project too also really connected me to my siblings, and to in visiting, we talked about our grandparents a lot. We talked about our childhood with them in our lives. Connecting with beadwork is just the most beautiful feeling in the world. It's where I feel content, and if there's something you love, follow that. Follow your heart. You don't know where that will take you.